Okay, music, cue.
Action.
Action. Hello and good morning. Today is Sunday, October the 13th, and welcome to another episode of Discover with Sbenati. This is a very, very special episode. I'm your host, Dr. Halim Sbenati of Sbenati Dentistry and Discover with Sbenati, obviously. And today we have a very, very special guest. And her name is Adriana Wood. She is a hygienist here, the primo supremo hygienist of Sbenati Dentistry, and arguably the best hygienist in London, Ontario. And I say that confidently and very proudly. And she is here today because she would like to, and I think it's very beneficial for people, she would like to share her story and her version of the story so that other people who are going through the things that she has gone through and see what she has gone through and the things that she was able to overcome and maybe even coping with at the moment. And she's here to share her story. So, without any further ado, I introduced Adriana Wood as the primo supremo hygienist, but let's hear it from her. So, Adriana, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me and
course.
taking the time to have me here today.
Of course. It's a pleasure. It's a great pleasure. So, Adriana, you're a hygienist who takes care of people's oral health, okay? And you're very, very meticulous, very thorough. I've seen your work, and it is far, far above a lot of other hygienists that I've seen in terms of their work. And that's a credit to you in terms of the amount of detail and the amount of effort and thoroughness that you actually put into your work. Now, what made you become a hygienist? So take us back into your journey, your educational journey, and why you decided to become a hygienist.
So a very long time ago, my oral health was terrible. Like, my parents didn't teach me to brush my teeth. It wasn't a priority. So when I came to Canada, I came here with adult teeth pretty much. And I was fortunate enough to get dental work done here. So all my adult teeth, I've got fillings. And so I spent a lot of time in the dental chair as a patient. So I wanted to get into the dental field so that I could help other people become more comfortable and take them through my experiences so that they can feel comfortable and at ease. And I've also had some terrible dentists work on me too. I've had jaw surgery, I've had root canal, I've had gum grafting, I've had braces, so I've experienced a lot.
Wow. You've experienced the whole gamut.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay. See, I knew certain things, but I didn't know all of it.
Yeah.
That's very fascinating. So then, why didn't you, for instance, decide to become an assistant? Why a hygienist?
I did assisting for just over a year. I worked in general practice, and then I worked in an ortho office, and I didn't have the one-on-one with patients, and I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't able to do what I was meant to do.
Okay, which is what?
To have that one-on-one with patients.
Okay. So you felt that you had to be a provider in order for you to have that close one-on-one.
Yes.
Because as an assistant, you don't have that one-on-one in the chair.
Right.
You can have the one-on-one conversations,
Yeah.
but you don't have the direct effect on the people's health.
Right.
Right? Okay.
Right.
And you're seen as more of an authority as a hygienist as opposed to an assistant.
Right.
Even though assistants are seen as part of the authority, but because you become a provider, assistants are not considered a provider, but you're considered a provider.
Yeah.
And so because of that, then now you have a direct relation with
Right.
people and their oral health and the well-being of their oral health. There's a lot
Right.
more responsibility.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Was there something else that you may have considered had you not gone into hygiene?
Well, when I was a kid, I wanted to become a nun.
Get out!
Yes, I did.
Wow.
I
When you were a kid, you wanted to become a nun.
Yeah.
So this is before all your dental experiences.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I know.
Where did you go from being a nun to hygiene?
That's what I wanted. Obviously, that wasn't the path that God wanted me to be on.
Okay.
So I had to go on the path that He wanted me to be on. It was that direction as opposed to this
So then,
direction.
do you see this more of a spiritual journey for you to
Absolutely.
become to how you ended up becoming a hygienist?
Yeah.
So you started off with, this is really interesting. So you started off as wanting to, because nuns, the whole purpose of being a nun is servitude of the divine, right? So you're not doing it for yourself.
Right.
So you feel that, do you feel that by you becoming hygienist, you're fulfilling that same purpose?
Yes,
So you're still
absolutely.
in servitude.
Yeah.
That is really, really interesting. And how do you feel that you're doing that?
Well, in a lot of aspects, actually. Dentistry isn't just teeth cleaning and fillings. A lot of people open up to me and tell me their personal things. And of course, that always stays with me. But I give them a perspective that they've never considered. And so I put a thought in their head, and then I leave it and they go with it. And they can ponder and grow with it. They can take it or not take it. They can decide. But the seed has been planted.
And you consciously do that?
Yes.
Okay. You know something? There were a few times here, since the inception of Sbenati dentistry, that you actually had a positive effect on myself.
Oh.
And it was very direct. It was very much, from the first go, you said you were the first one to say, "We have your back," and when things were a little bit low for me, you pumped me up real quickly, and you said, "Just go do this." And then I was like, "Oh shoot, yeah, she's right. I should," and I did. And you have that effect on people. Like, it's very, very rare for someone to have that effect on me as a person. So that was so I do see that spark that you put in people. You have that ability. That's awesome. So in that sense, then, because you have that ability, and because you started off with that intention of servitude, you like that. I want to say that, like, that internal power that you have in yourself is brought out. Okay, because your intention was that. Okay, and so that's awesome. That's really awesome. Is there some other way that you feel that you're actually fulfilling that purpose?
Well, I also didn't want to get married. Here I am with a kid.
Oh, okay.
So this whole journey is just what God wanted me to do.
Okay.
So I've just been rolling with it. So
Okay.
I've had a child.
Yeah.
I'm teaching her my values. She's being brought up in the Catholic Church.
Right.
And so that is my job.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Because nuns don't get married.
Right.
Right. Wow. Okay. That's I'm learning a lot of things from you as we speak. That's amazing. Okay. So now there's a question. So was it strictly your experiences from your dental experiences that led you to become a hygienist, or was there something else that made you, like, in the fork in the road of your life? Was it only either becoming a nun or going into the dental world? Was that the only two choices, or did you have multiple different avenues?
I had multiple. I wanted to be in the dental field. So when I was an assistant, I was toying with the option of going into dental lab tech or dental hygiene. But then I also thought about doing being a hairdresser, going that route too. But I really didn't feel that I would be able to fulfill what I'm here to do. So I went to the hygiene side. The hygiene side.
The hygiene side, that's right. Okay, the H side. Okay, so you will always question yourself, right? You always questioned as to why you're doing something before you did it, and so that propelled you to do it. Is that what it is? Because you said at first you went into assisting. Did you always know you wanted to go hygiene, or you went assisting first
No.
and then discovered that that's not?
Yeah,
Okay.
I went into.
Because it wasn't really lining up exactly
Yeah.
to what you were
That's right.
meant to do. Okay. Okay, that's cool. So now that we talked about your successes, okay, or before we go into that route, do you see yourself as a successful hygienist?
Very much so.
Okay, how so?
Yeah. Well, I've been in the field for 13 years now, and for the longest time, I didn't value myself.
Okay.
And even though my quality of work is exceptionally high, I didn't see that until I saw other people's work and how people were so disappointed when they had their teeth cleaned before, and then they came and saw me and they're like, what? That was a cleaning? It feels so good. Because everywhere else it's like 15 minutes and you're in and you're out, and they don't feel like they did a good job. And so they're always disappointed, and they're always asking me, where do you work? So yeah, I didn't feel valued, but I do now.
Okay.
And I don't know.
And that's why you feel like you're successful.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then so your definition of success is?
Client satisfaction. I'm a people pleaser, so I like to make sure that people are happy.
Okay. All right. That's fair. So now let's continue on the thought that I was going to go into. So everyone experiences problems. Everyone experiences obstacles. Every single human being. And that's the whole point of living. Okay. Is because without problems, then you're kind of like, you're a chair. Like you're going to experience problems.
Yeah.
So, so what are some obstacles, I'd want to say, what are some major obstacles, one or two or three, whichever ones, that you had to overcome, or maybe currently overcoming? When did it start, and when did it end, or is it still going on?
So after I had my daughter, I didn't know I suffered from postpartum, and I was in denial about it, so I didn't get any help for it. So then that just kind of escalated, and then I had to go to work. My daughter wasn't sleeping. She was up every 2 to 3 hours. This is a year and a half into her life. Wasn't sleeping. I was working, had to be up early, and so that cycle started. Stress started. Then I fell apart. I went into deep depression. I developed anxiety because they both go hand in hand. And for the longest time, I felt like my soul was gone. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I liked. I didn't care about anything. I didn't care about my child. I didn't care about my husband. I didn't care about my family. No one. Friends, could care less. But then there's that anxiety aspect of it, and where it's like, okay, you care too much. I care too much about what people think. What's going to happen if I leave the house? I couldn't leave the house. I couldn't get out of bed, but I had to. I had to go to work. And this went on for years. And on the outside, no one knew. No one had a clue. No one. Not even my husband. Not a clue. So this was, I was very alone. But that's how I always have been. I always suffer alone. There's no one that can be there for me to really understand it unless you've actually gone through it. So I was my own advocate. And I went to my doctor and I said, listen, I can't do this anymore. There's something wrong and I don't know what it is. And I didn't for the longest time. And she never really diagnosed me. She just said, okay, let's put you on some medication. Okay. She put me on some medication. They helped, and then they didn't. So they stopped working. So then there's that whole process where you have to slowly increase the dosage. Then you reach a maximum, and you can't get any more. Then it works, and then it doesn't work. So then you have to slowly go down in dosage so that you can't just cold turkey stop taking medication. So I did that many, many times. And that was very frustrating because you kind of, at some point you lose hope. Mm-hmm. And you're like, well, what's the point? Nothing's going to work. You just got to keep doing it. And every day's the same thing over and over. It's Groundhog Day. And but you keep going because you have to. There's people that need you. There's people that rely on you, and that's what kept me going. I knew that people needed me. I need to be on this earth for those people, even people that I didn't meet. Because as soon as you're gone, the world changes. It adapts to you not being here. So I didn't want to do that. And so I saw a psychologist, I saw a psychiatrist. It's very expensive, but you got to do what you got to do, right? I found that helpful up to a certain point, and then financially it was just like, I can't. So I ended up taking some time off work. I took 3 months off because I just, with patients, I couldn't even, I didn't care. I just didn't care. And I was getting very irritable. Like everything irritated me. I was angry all the time for no reason. And so I took time off work, which was very helpful. I really needed that time. Still with medication, of course. But also with the anxiety, I had to expose myself to a lot of things. And slowly, and it wasn't, going into the mall, I'm going to stay there all day. It was, okay, I'm going to go to the mall today, and I'll be there for half an hour. And then slowly, an hour. And then more and more. But then I come to a point where, okay, I've had enough. I need to go home now. I get overstimulated, and that's why I like my room to be quiet. So that I can what's the word I'm looking for? Not gather myself. Help me out here.
So you can be more in tune with yourself.
Yeah.
So you can be more in line with what's inside your head.
Yeah. Yeah, because the noise is just garbage for my head, and I don't like it.
Because overstimulation gets you distracted and you can't focus.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how old is your daughter now?
8.
8. Mm-hmm. So you went through this from for at least 7 years. Or no, sorry, at least 6 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and my daughter didn't sleep for 4 years. 4 years, up and down. She was up every 3 hours for 4 years. Okay. And yeah.
So you said you took 3 months off. Mm-hmm. Before then, you were going through all these lapses and relapses of you, encountering depression, going through medication, tapering off, going back to high dosage, tapering off. Yeah. You lost hope at some points. Now, when you said you lost hope at some points, were you considering suicide?
No, because it was in the back of my head, but I know that's not what I was going to do anyway. It wasn't an option for me. It was never a way out.
It's kind of like, oh, it's there on the shelf,
Yeah,
but
sure.
I'd never touch that shelf.
That's right.
Got you.
Yeah.
And so, but you mean you've hit rock bottom
Yeah.
in terms of your mental state.
Yeah.
And at that time you were still taking the meds, right?
Yeah.
And when you were taking the meds, you went and saw a psychologist and psychiatrist.
Mm-hmm.
And how long did that, like what was, so you said that postpartum started a year and a half after your daughter's birth.
Mm-hmm.
But you said that you said that that's when you realized that you had that, but
Yeah, it
you probably
started
had
earlier.
it obviously. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then you were living this for a very long time
For
before,
years.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for at least a year and a half before you even realized, okay, I have to get help.
Yeah.
And the reason why you did that is because you thought, maybe you still think that now, but you thought that no one can help you. Or maybe you didn't even realize that there was something wrong.
That's a tough question. I'm not sure. Maybe I just didn't realize there was something wrong. But I didn't feel like myself. Like I said, I lost my soul. So I didn't know what I liked. I didn't like to hang out with my friends. I didn't want to be social. I didn't want to socialize. And before all this happened, I was the total opposite.
And you felt that way after your daughter's birth, or is it a year and a half, like what, that year and a half mark? And what made it that mark?
Me going back to work, more stress.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it just escalated it to the next level.
And how were you coping during that time when you weren't taking the meds?
I was very closed off. I liked to be alone. I wanted to be alone. I didn't want to be bothered. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I'd like shut the door, leave me alone. I'm in my room.
For that long?
Yeah. I mean, I went to work. You have to put on a face and go to work and pretend like nothing's wrong. And then I'd come home and I'd crash. I'm done. Go to bed.
Huh. Mm-hmm. So, but before you went back to work, so you took a year and a half off of work?
No. No. Maternity leave is a year.
That's right.
So when I went back to work,
that's when you started noticing
Yeah.
certain patterns. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because it escalated things to the point where you're like, this is not the usual.
Yeah.
Okay. Because obviously with any kind of provider, you are going to experience stress. Mm-hmm. But then if something is being offset after work, then that's when you realize, okay, that's not right. Something's not right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, from the time that you realized something is not right, so it was what, just you experienced it for 6 months, that you realized, okay, something's not right, and then you started seeking help?
It was very gradual. I can't put a date or time on it, and that's another thing I have trouble with is memory. I have a hard time remembering things. I can't give you exact dates.
Well, the reason why I'm asking all this is because a lot of people go through these problems. A lot of people go through these problems without realizing that they have a problem, and two, without going and seeking help. Because, like you said, like a lot of people, I'll say, like myself, for instance, I've experienced bouts of depression, and I've never thought to seek any help just because the exact same way that you're thinking. Like, so I never thought that anyone could even help me. Because to me, it's like, well, this is my problem. I have to deal with it by myself, and so it's a battle, right? It's a huge battle because you feel like you are by yourself. You feel like you are alone. You feel like all these, and I want to say the metaphor, or these like demons are like just like it's just compounding, and they're just going over, and then you have on top of that, then you have stresses at work, and then you have a child, and you have the child you have to take care of, and you have your family, and you have, so it's just like it's just more and more and more, and it's just like to the point where you're like, what? Like, when does this all end? Okay. So I totally hear you, and so the reason why I'm asking this question as to how long it took you, because that will, I think, help people to realize that if you've gone through quite a significant amount of time where you're experiencing this, maybe now is the time for you to go and seek some help. Maybe now is for you, because when you seek help, maybe that help itself may not result in you getting out of whatever situation you're in, but it'll start getting you thinking in that direction. because now you're no longer thinking in the same time, in the same mind frame that you were thinking before. Now you've got another thought process from another human being that's telling you, oh, but what about you challenge these thoughts? You're like, no, 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 that's not it. But then when you go home, you're like, okay, well, maybe it's not even those two, maybe it's something else. So now you're thinking else, but now you're at least going off of that path. You see what I mean? But that started with you going seeking help.
Right. I would say for sure it was at least 5 months before I went to the doctor and I said, listen, I need help.
Okay.
Because I remember now, I went to my boss that week and I said, I've been diagnosed with depression and anxiety. Can I please have Thursday off? Because I didn't work Fridays and it was a long weekend. And I'm like, I'm going to lose my mind. I need time off. So he said, yeah, that's fine. They were very understanding and supportive, which I was very thankful for. So yeah, I would give it a good 5 months before I went and actually seek help.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good, because usually people wait a lot longer than that. So that's really good. So I mean, maybe you can chime in, but I would say that for anyone that's listening to this or anyone that's watching this, the best thing to do if you are experiencing this is not to wait.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Because waiting is not going to make things better.
No, it only makes things worse. And the faster you can get help, the faster you can get healthy again mentally. Sometimes I find that it's very hard to get healthy when you're so deep in the hole. To get yourself out is a tougher process than when you're just starting to sink. Yeah.
It's a tough climb, especially when you are in the pits.
Yeah.
Yeah. But once you're okay, so now I'm gonna segue into something else. So now that you've experienced that, what prevents you from going back into that pit?
Well, I've been able to learn how to deal with my stress and how to re-energize my batteries, essentially, how to recharge myself. So that's what I do. I spend my energy where it needs to be spent, and then I go home and I recharge my batteries, and then I'm ready to go again.
And how do you do that? What are some things that you can share with us that maybe can help some people?
For me, it's a lot of quiet time. Some peace and quiet, no TV, no distractions, nothing. So for me, I like to take a nap, but I don't always get to. So even if my daughter's playing outside or whatever, just to lie down and just breathe and be aware of your surroundings.
So meditation, is that what we
Meditation, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like meditation to me.
Yeah.
Okay. But do you do all this, like you have candles everywhere? And
No,
you have
no,
a mat and
no.
you have,
No.
No? Okay.
I just lay down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lay down in bed and you just kind of.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you practice any breathing exercises where you breathe in, you focus on your breath?
I have tried that. Doesn't really work that well for me. When my anxiety's high, then yes.
Okay.
That's when I would do those breathing exercises. But yeah, for me, it's just to lie down in some quiet time, some quiet space.
Is that all you do for coping?
Yeah, you know what? That's all I need.
Okay.
I just need some quiet time.
Okay. So basically you shut the door,
Yeah.
lay down in bed, you just,
Yeah.
everything's quiet.
Half an hour, maybe an hour. That's it.
And that's good enough.
That's good enough.
And you're back. Okay. And how How often do you think that happens for you? Do you do this something regimented, or do you do it only when you need to?
Only when I need to.
Okay.
There was a time where I would spend all my energy in 1 week, and then weekend came, and I would just spend it in bed.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't get out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
No energy, nothing. Like I couldn't. So I'm better now. I feel good. I know where I'm at in life and where I need to be, and this is what I need to be doing. So it's not as much work for me anymore. I'm myself again. So every now and then, I just need to lay down and just recharge.
That's good, because you've reached a level of self-awareness now, where you know what basically ticks you off.
Yeah.
You know what at the times that you need that recharge,
Yeah.
you don't delay it. You just do it right away, and that doesn't compound. It
That's
doesn't
right.
get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense. Okay, great. So now that was actually an excellent segue. So then, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? So do you see yourself as, or 5, 10 years' time? Do you see yourself as still a hygienist? Do you see yourself doing something else? Because you do something else on the side, as I understand it.
Yes, I
Okay.
do.
What is it that you do on the side?
I do eyelash extensions.
Right. So for those of you that are in London that want eyelash extensions as well as your teeth being maintained,
I actually did that because I wanted to get out of dentistry. Believe it or not, I wanted to do something else because I was bored. I wasn't being challenged, and so I did that. And at first, I thought, "What the hell am I doing? Just gotta go. Just go with it."
the eyelash thing?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So, and I like doing that because it makes people feel good. It makes them feel beautiful. Then, so it sparks something in them. And so then when they feel good about themselves, then I feel good. And so in 5 years, 10 years, I still see myself being a hygienist at Sbenati Dentistry.
There you go.
Yeah.
High five for that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
And still doing the eyelash thing on the side?
I don't think that that's where I'm going to be going.
Okay.
No. But I do see myself helping in the community, being out there. That's what I like to do. That's where I want to be. So that's my goal.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yes,
I appreciate that.
it's definitely my pleasure. Everything that you said, I'm sure at least one person is going to benefit from this. And that's the whole point of doing Discover with Sbenati, is so at least one person can benefit from it. And if that one person benefited, then we're doing something good.
That's right.
So thank you so much. This was an awesome podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys benefited. Hope it was as insightful to me as it was to you. Don't forget to tune in to the next podcast episode. And don't forget to let your friends and family know about this podcast, Discover with Sbenati, to share it and to give us your feedback. Thank you again for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next show.